If you or someone you know has diabetes, you may have built up an extra supply of test strips and lancets. That's where we come in. We'll buy the supplies that you don't need and resell them to those in need to prevent waste. Help us make diabetes management more affordable. Visit us at teststripswithaz.com.
All right, joining me right now is one half of the main event for UFC on ESPN Plus 18 in Copenhagen. He will take on Jared Cannonier September the 28th. Big matchup in the middleweight division. We have Jack Hermansson on the show. How are you, Jack?
I'm great. Thank you so much for having me.
Absolutely. It's great to have you here. The fight was made official late last week. You get to headline in Copenhagen. How excited are you to headline this event on September 28th?
I'm super excited for the main event. You know, it's going to be my second main event, and it was awesome last time, and I'm sure it's going to be even greater now when I'm so close at home.
Absolutely. And, you know, it's a great way to start off your brand new contract with the UFC, as the news came out a couple weeks ago that you signed a new 6-fight deal with the organization. In my opinion, you've certainly earned that with how you've been performing. I assume you're satisfied with the contract and the way things have turned out, correct?
Yeah, I'm super satisfied, and, you know, it's going to be great things coming ahead.
Absolutely. And, you know, it's an interesting time in that division because the way things have been shaken out at 185 pounds, you know, Weidman's up to 205, Rockhold moved to 205, and a lot of fights have been booked for this division. I know after you went over Jacare, you were hoping to get a fight with Kelvin Gastelum, but there's really no news on when he's ready to come back after that barn burner with Israel Adesanya. Being the number 4 ranked guy in the division, were you happy to get Jared Cannonier for this fight?
You know, I was really trying to get Gastelum to go with me for this one, and that's what I was hoping for. But at the same time, I'm eager to get busy again and get in there, you know. And as we talked about, another main event, and I asked the UFC who is the next guy, you know, in the rankings that you can give me. And they said that the next guy that's available is Jared. And I said, all right, then we'll go with Jared.
I mean, there's nobody else to headline this event, right? You had touched on it. You know, you're not too far from there. You're close to home. You don't have to fly to the States or anything like that. You get a full camp this time around. This is a perfect situation for you, right?
Yeah, I feel so, you know. As you mentioned, to be so close at home and you don't have to do that flight and everything. I think I'm gonna be in top shape, and it's gonna be awesome to do this main event and keep building my name in the division. How
far of a trip is this to get to Copenhagen from where you're at?
It's a 1-hour flight.
Oh, beautiful. Doesn't get much better than that. In terms of what Jared's been doing, I mean, he made the drop to 185 pounds, which is just crazy to me because he was huge for 205, but he's looked really good at 185 pounds. He finished David Branch. He, just like yourself, he beat Anderson Silva in a bit of a wacky one. What have you made of Cannonier's short stint at 185 pounds?
He looks solid here, you know, and he's used to bigger opponents, and he looks really powerful in this division. So I'm expecting that. I'm expecting him to be super powerful, and he has been looking great so far.
Has he impressed you in his fights with Branch and Anderson at 185? Are you as shocked as I am that he can get down to that weight?
Yeah, it's pretty incredible. You know, he came in at heavyweight, you know, and I've been watching all of his fights, and he looked thick back then, really, really thick, but not fat, you know. It was just like muscled, and it's pretty amazing that he can do this cut, but it has been working well for him. So yeah, it's probably the right decision for him.
You've been in there with some heavy strikers throughout this run. You know, even Jacare, despite his jiu-jitsu pedigree, is a pretty big striker. We saw that in his fight with Chris Weidman. Where do you think Jared ranks among the guys you've been in there with in terms of one-punch, fight-ending knockout power?
In that term, I think he's right up there. You know, I think he's very, very powerful, and you don't want to get hit by Jared for sure. He's a heavy hitter. But that being said, you know, all of the guys in the top 10 are so tough, and all of the fighters are that great. So I feel like you know, it's more about how you can perform on that night, you know, in that cage right there. So I feel he's on that level, and it's going to be a tough challenge. But I definitely see myself as the better fighter in total.
Who are some of the guys in the gym that are going to be helping you prepare for this one?
I have my guys that I usually prepare with. It's Mohsen Bahari, Kenneth Bergh, Håkon Foss, Emil Mick, that's also in the UFC. Big wrestler Martin Hamlet, and the rest of the team at the Frontline Academy. That's how I have been doing it my whole career. Doing my training camps here in Oslo, and it has been working well for me. So I'm gonna continue with that.
How is Kenneth doing right now? Because we saw his fight on the Contender Series with Trocoli. The fight didn't go his way. I thought he looked pretty good for as long as it lasted until the end of it. But then we just found out that Trocoli tested positive. He got released by the UFC. Is Kenneth aware of all of that? And if so, what's he think about all of that?
Yeah, we were all a little bit shocked when we read that. And the main thing now is, of course, to get no contest for the fight. And I think that's... his main goal, and maybe the UFC will look a little bit different on that fight after that. So hopefully Kenny will get another chance soon, and he will be back at it.
If they need a guy for like the last episode of the season, would he be up for that, like 4 or 5 weeks from now, or would that be a little bit too soon for him at this point?
He's great. He's in great shape, and but I'm not 100% sure. I can't speak for him there, but you will have to ask him.
Yeah, I think he deserves another shot. But back to you. When you visualize this fight with Jared in your head, a lot of fighters, they close their eyes, they visualize these things happening. When you close your eyes, you watch the fight in your mind. How does it usually end? How do you see yourself getting your hand raised on September 28th?
I see myself finish the fight early, finish the fight on top. I see myself going out there in a high pace, and it's gonna be fireworks, and it's gonna be me that is the victorious one. That's how I see it.
There's just like we talked about, there's a ton going on in this division right now. Of course, you got Whittaker and Adesanya coming up in October. You got Costa taking on Romero in a couple of weeks, and your fight's going to be kind of sandwiched right in between the two of those. And I'm sure you're going to be watching that Romero-Costa fight in a couple of weeks because, the importance that fight has in this division. But, do you in a way become a Yoel Romero fan because Whittaker already has 2 wins over him already, and it kind of opens the door a little more for you if all goes well on September 28th? Do you look at it that way?
I definitely gonna be watching those 2 fights, and I feel like because I'm that highly ranked as I am, and those 2 guys, Romero and Costa, is super relevant as well. I feel like, especially if Yoel Romero wins, there might be room for me to get the next title shot, just because that Whittaker already fought him twice. But it depends on who has the most dominant performance, and who is the buzz gonna be around. I think that's gonna be very important to who gets the next title shot, and but I'm gonna be watching those fights for sure, and it's gonna be interesting. And I'm probably I'm seeing myself fight all those guys in the near future. Both Costa, Romero, and Adesanya and Whittaker. So I'm keeping my eyes on them.
Do you think the timing's pretty good that your fight's going to be after Romero and Costa, because you get to see, how those guys perform? If a guy gets a finish, you kind of get a sense of where the bar is set. Is that kind of good for you timing-wise, that you get to sort of follow that fight, they lead the way, and then you have the chance to surpass them, so to speak?
Definitely. I'm looking forward to it, and I'm looking forward to beat that performance, or if you can say so, to top it. That would be really awesome, and but I'm sure the one that deserves it is gonna get the next shot.
Who do you like in that fight between Romero and Costa?
Oh, that's a tough one. I think we still haven't seen that much of Costa. We have seen some fights, but he's finished them pretty quickly. And Romero, we know a little bit more about, but it's gonna be a clash, and it's a really hard one to pick. Yeah. So, but I'm gonna go with Romero. He's a veteran now, and almost everybody has huge problems beating him. So we will see if Costa has what it takes.
And I think you're in a good position too, because you're fighting close to home. It's kind of it's essentially a hometown fight for you. You're going to have the crowd behind you, and it'll be really hard to argue just based on the streak that you're on right now, that if you go out there and you finish Jared Cannonier and you do it impressively, you have a really good argument to get a shot at the belt. Have you or your team been told, Jack, if you go out there and finish Jared, you get that big pop from the audience, you send the people home happy, you're the guy, you're going to get the winner of that fight? Has that discussion been had at all?
No, it hasn't actually. So I'm just gonna do my best and try to make that happen. And if I do a great performance, I feel like I can demand a little bit more. So it's gonna be interesting. And but yeah, I'm right around the corner. So sooner or later I'm gonna get that shot, and hopefully I'm able to perform that well that everybody's gonna shouting my name after this fight, and I will get what I deserve.
What is that going to mean to you when you make that walk in Copenhagen with all those fans cheering for you? Have you imagined what that's going to feel like heading to the octagon, getting ready for a main event in Copenhagen? Have you imagined what that's going to feel like?
Yeah, I'm imagining myself have a good look around, and that nobody sits in their chair. Everybody's gonna be up on their feet. Their hands are gonna be in there, and it's gonna be a definning sound from the crowd. And I'm gonna suck that energy up, and I'm gonna go in there and make the performance of my life. That's what I imagine.
Do you have a walkout song picked out for that event? I mean, we saw what Darren Till did when he showed up in Liverpool. He came out to Sweet Caroline, and everybody sang, and it became this really iconic moment. Do you have something in mind that you're going to try to top that one?
I have my own walkout song that I'm always going out to, and that's called "The Joker" by the artist Damien. So everybody can check that out, and it's a great song, and I'm going to continue to roll with that.
All right, Copenhagen, listen to that song, get ready, and sing along as Jack the Joker Hermansson makes his way to the octagon on September 28th to take on Jared Cannonier in the main event of that card. Really looking forward to this, Jack. Thank you for the time. Before we wrap up and let you go, let the folks know where they can follow along on this journey with you via social media. Any shout-outs, anything else you want to get off your chest, the floor is yours.
Thank you very much. Big shout-out to Frontline Academy in Oslo. That's my team, and thank you for having my back and helping me with this fight. And besides that, all of you fans out there, you can follow me on Jack the Joker MMA. That's my name on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook. So Jack the Joker MMA. And thank you for following me and supporting me.
Jack, thank you for the time. All the best to you in preparation for this fight and in the cage on September 28th. Thank you again.
Thank you so much.